Okay. So many Americans are dying prematurely, and I believe that each one of us has the opportunity to change that. Welcome, friends. Thank you so much for joining us today and breaking bread and learning a little bit about what we do and how we can collaborate together in the future. My name is James Allegretto. I'm the executive director for a grassroots nonprofit called Youth of North Carolina. Now, Youth of North Carolina, our organization travels the state and we collaborate with the 1,800 youth-serving organizations that work hand in hand with youth every single day. One of the great things that we do, we advocate for our children and provide educational support that helps build youth into resilient adults. Youth of North Carolina was founded in 2017 by Bill and Dory Goebel, who took a lifelong passion for working with children and turned it into a mission-driven organization that impacted over 200,000 youth through 2023. So let's give it up for them. I'm also proud to say that we are advisors to Chief Justice Newby's ACEs Informed Task Force. And this is a really important thing. Not many people get the opportunity to be part of this task force working with the state Chief Justice. Now, because of the work that we do, what if I was to share with you that there's an exposure out there that dramatically increases the risk for 7 out of the 10 of the leading causes of death in the United States? I'll repeat that. There's an exposure out there that dramatically increases the risk of 7 out of the 10 of the leading causes of death in the United States. And in high doses, this exposure affects brain development, the immune system, and the way our DNA is read and transcribed. Now, people who are exposed have a 20-year difference in life expectancy. Now, this exposure I'm talking about is not pesticides, it's not air pollution, and it's not X-rays. It is childhood trauma. And I'm not talking about the trauma from getting a bad grade in school or losing a ball game. And we know that that could be traumatic. I'm talking about trauma that literally gets under your skin and changes your physiology. What I'm talking about is adverse childhood experiences, otherwise known as ACEs. And these are stressful traumatic experiences that happen in childhood. And these experiences can change the way young people today behave, function in society, relate to one another, and the way that they become resilient adults and impact future generations. Now, Youth in North Carolina, we didn't invent this. This is not something that we made up. It's not something that we came up with. This was from a study done by Kaiser Permanente and the CDC, where they studied the outcomes of 18,000 adults over their lifetime. And what they did, they based their questions and their studies on 10 different categories of experiences in 3 different main groupings, including different questions about physical, emotional, and sexual abuse, neglect and bullying, as well as household dysfunction, including family members being incarcerated, mental health, and substance abuse in the community. Now, on your table, you have the questionnaire, because this questionnaire is really simple, and we don't often just hand this out to people without having an explanation or at least a conversation about it. The ACEs study was really simple. It used a very simple score to determine the extent of each person's exposure to childhood trauma. So exposure to one category in that questionnaire means you would get 1 point. And as you go down the questionnaire, you check off all the different questions that pertain to you. And at the end, you add up your score, and that is your ACE score. So a person that marks nothing on the questionnaire means they had 0 exposure to childhood trauma. And a person that marks all 10 means they have exposure to childhood trauma in each and every category in the questionnaire. Now, what the CDC discovered is that ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, are very common. And as you look at the questionnaire, you may be able to have some of those questions resonate with you. And that's okay, because 64% of the people in our country have reported at least one ACE. And this is important because what the CDC discovered, it brought into light the direct relationship between toxic experiences and behavior and physical and mental health challenges that impacted people later on in life. What they discovered is that there's a significant and serious health conditions that impact many Americans, including heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and as you can see here, the list goes on and on. Young people impacted by ACEs struggle with social issues, emotional issues, which lead to poor life choices and poor health behaviors later on. And now we've all seen this. We've seen this on the news, and we've seen this for years. And we see it in our neighborhoods and in all neighborhoods across this country. And what I'm sharing with you is that ACEs are linked to many Americans dying prematurely. Because of what we know, the more adverse categories a person's impacted by, the higher the health risks later in life. And together, each of us can do better. Youth of North Carolina uses this science as a guide to work hand in hand with youth-serving organizations to make a more meaningful impact. Youth of North Carolina takes pride in breaking down silos between youth-serving organizations across the state. And we help build bridges to serve every child better. We help and guide organizations and people to have a better understanding of what ACEs are. By following 3 key elements together, we can make a difference. By having a common agenda and understanding what ACEs are and how they impact every single youth in our country, by mutually reinforcing activities. That's being one loving, caring adult in a child's life. That can make a difference. And continuous communication. The conversation doesn't stop. Just because we're here enjoying a sandwich today together doesn't mean that minimizing ACEs ends when we leave this room. It only takes one loving, caring adult to make a difference in a child's life. And I believe each one of us can be that loving, caring adult. We already have a very impressive group of community partners that have joined us. But we still need your help. We need help from each and every one of you. Please consider helping Youth of North Carolina with your volunteer time, your financial support, or probably the most important thing, introducing us to your network so we can spread the word and advocate to minimize ACEs. This important work is not done. The Kaiser Permanente CDC study was done over 2 decades ago, and we're just starting to take ACEs seriously. Currently, only 3% of pediatricians even look for adverse childhood experiences and report them to make a difference in the child that they serve. There are 3 great ways to keep informed in what Youth in North Carolina is doing. We need your support and your help. Please consider your volunteer time, your financial support, or introducing us to your network to get the word out about adverse childhood experiences. My name is James Allegretto, and I'm so thankful that you came here today to hear the message about adverse childhood experiences. My phone number and email is on there, and feel free to contact me at any time.